Ladies and gentlemen, Hoyoverse just released... Actually, I just realized Alice is Spyro. Well, there goes my intro. Hoyoverse just released the Moonlit Ballad of the Night, and it is absolutely jam-packed with an enormous amount of lore. This is, of course, the song of the Welkin Moon's teaser, and it is going to require our discreet and complete analysis because there is a lot of stuff to talk about. And one theme that you will notice with this trailer or this teaser is that it is extremely artistically profound, and there is a lot of symbolism with almost every single scene. So, let us begin without further ado.
You wish to hear a story of the moon?
This is Nicole, of course.
That tale begins long, long ago.
And just like that, we are only 8 seconds in and we already have something to discuss. This guy over here, we all know him. He is the Grand Master of the Knights of whom Jean is currently leading in Mondstadt, and he is Grandmaster Varka. However, another slightly lesser known fact about him is that he is currently the modern Wolf Knight. Now, who is or what is a Wolf Knight? Well, as we all know, in Mondstadt, there is a demon god called Andreas, who used to be back in the days one of the most powerful gods in all of Tevat. He covered all of Mondstadt in ice during his war with another demon god in the form of the Caribbean. In the end, the Caribbean was slain and deposed in a great rebellion in Old Mondstadt. I am obviously being sarcastic because I'm like relaying history and shit. But anyway, Barbatos became the Anemo Archon, and he only became the Anemo Archon because Andreas decided to give up his position as the best candidate chosen by Celestia to become the Anemo Archon. Andreas was much stronger than Barbatos back then, and probably is even stronger right now, which is really, really funny. But yeah, Andreas gave up his position and decided to go into seclusion because he saw that Barbatos was much better fit to become a ruler of humanity, since Barbatos actually liked humans while Andreas did not. Regardless, even though Andreas did not like humanity, he was still a powerful demon god, and he was strong enough to gather a small amount of human worshippers and human following. One such follower was the very first Wolf Knight. That guy was the original wielder of the Wolf's Gravestone. As a matter of fact, when you go to fight Boreas, the dominator of wolves, which is the spirit of the demon god Andreas over in Wolvendom, you start the fight by touching the blade of the original Wolf Knight. And that blade is the Wolf's Gravestone as it used to look like back in the days. This was its original shape. And over here we can see Varka wielding what looks like the current Wolf's Gravestone in his possession. Now, this makes a lot of sense because as the current Wolf Knight, it is completely logical for him to be the wielder, the canonical wielder and possessor of the Wolf's Gravestone. There is a minor problem with this, which is the fact that Diluc also canonically has the Wolf's Gravestone. This was made canonical in his skin. So the real question is whether Hoyoverse's writers decided to retcon this detail and return the Wolf's Gravestone to Varkas as it should be, because he is the Wolf Knight, he should have the Wolf's Gravestone. Or alternatively, perhaps there are multiple Wolf's Gravestone blades that were forged after the original one, and Varka has one while Diluc has another one. It's a minor detail, but yeah, we'll see what happens. But honestly, I think Hoyoverse will just gloss over this fact, but I wanted to mention it. The important point, though, is the fact that as the Wolf Knight, we have Varka sitting in front of a giant moon. That is the moon in Tevat's false sky. And in Genshin, there is a book called A Drunkard's Tale. In that book, we hear the story of a wolf who met a very beautiful lunar maiden that sang the song of the ancient Sealies. Now, that lunar maiden tells the wolf that she made this song originally to sing it for the human savages before humanity betrayed the Sealies, and now she uses that song to mourn her fate. In the Drunkard's Tale, the tiny Seelie spirits, they gather around the Moon Maiden who sings this song, after which the wolf sings his own song for the Moon Maiden. This legend, or this myth, is a reoccurring theme in Genshin Impact, where wolves are not only associated with Seelies as like their companions or their guardians, it's like how wolves in Elden Ring follow the Empyreans. Each Empyrean has a wolf, like for example Queen Marika has Maliketh, who was her wolf shadow. Genshin has something similar with the Sealies. I would not say that this is inspired by Elden Ring, by the way, because Genshin came out before Elden Ring, and like we had this whole theme before Elden Ring ever came out. I'm just saying that there are some similarities. But yeah, the point is, wolves are associated with Sealies, and typically speaking, in real-world mythology and in real-world folklore, I guess, wolves are commonly associated with the moon. The symbolism of a wolf howling at the full moon is an extremely common one amongst us humans in multiple different cultures. So Varka over here, sitting in front of a moon, is not only cool because he is in Nodekrai and because he is related to the original Wolf Knight, or I should say successor to the original Wolf Knight, but also because Varka as the Wolf Knight symbolizes the wolf companions of the ancient Sealies, who also were children of the moon. Really, really cool detail.
Mister! Nafa's starting her story already!
This young girl is Aino, and she is one of the two mechanics who repaired Inefa, that is the robot coming in version 5.8. Now, I was going to mention her briefly in my upcoming video, which was supposed to come out like literally right now, but the Song of the Welkin Moon teaser came out, and this one takes priority. So the Inefa theory that I was going to release right now is going to come out after tomorrow, and I'm going to talk about Inefa and all of her lore related to the Natlan's ancient dragons.
Thanks for the heads up.
And this should be inside the Krumkake shop. The girl sleeping on the couch is the other mechanic I mentioned. They should be the mechanics who repaired Inefa, by the way.
A long way off. We might go hungry, but at least we have plenty of time. Hey kid, that headpiece of yours is pretty unique. Who designed it? Could you hook me up?
Okay, there is a lot to say. So, Durin is a creation of this sinner, Rhine-daughter, and he used to be called Durin of Humus. The word humus means dark soil or black soil, and black soil is symbolically used in alchemy to represent the first stage of the alchemical magnum opus, Nigredo. Now, the alchemical magnum opus has 4 stages: the blackening stage, that's Nigredo; the whitening stage, that's Albedo; and then we have the gold stage, that's Citrinitas; and finally the magnum opus itself, which is the Philosopher's Stone, that's red, that's Rubedo. One detail that's worth mentioning is that the Conrian alchemists, according to René de Petrichor and Jacob Baker of the Narcissenkreuz Ordo, they swapped the final stage of the magnum opus in Conria from Rubedo to Citrinitas. So their magnum opus in Conria is not red, it is gold. We don't know the exact reason why they did this. However, regardless of their reasoning, it doesn't really harm or change the overall idea that I am about to convey. So Durin is a dragon that was created out of alchemy from the abyss by Rhine-daughter, and then, after being created out of the abyss, he became Durin of Humus. He got transmuted using alchemy into a homunculus by Albedo. In order to accomplish this, Albedo used the 3 primary ingredients. Those were the heart or the core of the heart of the original Durin, in combination with the Durin of Simulanka that was written by Anya Andersdotter, and then finally the 3rd ingredient was the flesh of a monster from the Merjivari. That monster might be Bokunawa, which we are going to fight in version 5.8, but we will see. It doesn't really matter if it's him or not. The main idea, though, is that we have a dragon that was created using alchemy and then transmuted using alchemy into a humanoid homunculus. So, notice the cup of tea or coffee, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Look what happens with the tea or coffee. We transition from Durin's humanoid face, look, and we get the shape or the image of a dragon. Of course, we also can hear the sound of a dragon. Now, notice this. This is extremely symbolically important.
That era, there was no boundary between life and death.
No boundary between life and death. Pay attention to this. We have the 3 Moon Sisters, and Nicole is relaying their story.
Power flowed freely among countless beings. The primordial being that once ruled this planet made 3 moons rise from the earth.
Who is the primordial being? It's not the primordial one. It's not the heavenly reaver. It's not the usurper king. No, the primordial being that Nicole is talking about is the Dragon King Nibelung, who ruled the light realm, and he made 3 moons rise from the earth. This usage of language is super important. The line itself is taken from hermeneutics. This is I believe it was called the Emerald Tablet, that was written by the legendary alchemist that is called Hermes Trismegistus. Now, of course, in real life, alchemy is utter nonsense. And by the way, it is not even related to chemistry. This is literally a myth. Chemistry was developed by physicists and mathematicians. Alchemists were historically complete idiots who never achieved anything in life, and most of their equipment were calibrated even wrong. But that aside, alchemy works really well within the confines of a fictional world. So the legendary alchemist Hermes Trismegistus, who is of course referenced in Genshin through the Kandrian astrologist Barbeleth Trismegistus, who is currently a witch in the Hexen Circle, he wrote, and by he I mean Hermes Trismegistus, not Barbeleth, the Emerald Tablet, and in it he says, well, he does not say this verbatim, but he says something along those lines, and Hoyoverse uses the following line: rises from the earth, falls from the sky, as above, so below. So below here mentions the realm of the dead, and as above mentions earth, or references earth and the heavens. There are so many different stories in Greek mythology and in ancient mythologies that I can reference with this line. I could, for example, tell you the story of Aeneas, which I talked about recently in one of my videos, with the golden bow and all of that stuff. However, I could also tell you about the world of Amphorius, which is inspired by Greek mythology. The world of Amphorius in Honkai Star Rail is not identical to the world of Tevat. However, both worlds parallel each other heavily. So, what we can do because of all of these parallels is look at the world of Amphorius and look at the world of Tevat, observe their similarities, apply our knowledge of their overarching structures in order to try and decipher certain elements within each of these two stories because they parallel each other so heavily. Now, you're gonna probably be wondering, how does Honkai Star Rail parallel this line where the Dragon King Nibelung made 3 moons rise from the earth? We have Durin. This is a dragon that was created using alchemy and then it transmuted into a humanoid homunculus using alchemy. He was created by gold and transmuted by albedo, so created by gold and transmuted by white, and he himself is a black. He is Durin of a humus, representing the black soil, so Nigredo. And then, from Durin the dragon, look what happens is thematically. Notice this. From Durin the dragon, we get the cup of coffee or cup of tea takes the image of a dragon, and we can hear the roaring of a dragon. And then from this dragon that is supposed to represent Durin, who is a dragon, we transition into Nibelung, the original dragon who ruled the world. He made 3 moons rise from the earth. What Nibelung did is not alchemical, probably. Well, we don't know, but probably not alchemical, since alchemy was developed by humans. However, the language that Nicole uses is very alchemical in nature. She says, made 3 moons rise from the earth. And in Amphorius, there is a girl called Castoris. She is the demigod of death, and in the story of Through the Petals in the Land of Repose, that's the name of the Trailblaze mission, she goes with the Trailblazer, who is the main character of Honkai Star Rail, into the realm of the dead in the city of Styxia. And the city of Styxia, by the way, the reason this is relevant is because look how Nicole says there was no boundary between life and death. That is very similar to the storyline of Styxia, where Castoris' sister, Polixia, shattered the boundary between life and death, and because of what she did, people could no longer return to the realm of the dead and then reincarnate in the next cycle. So Polixia, Castoris' sister, she completely screwed the cycle of life and death in her world, in Amphorius, because of her actions, and Castoris had to go and fix all of those problems. As you guys can see right now, take a look over here. The city of Styxia is overseen by 2 moons. One is the Crimson Moon, a red one, and then we have the Frost Moon. And if we go back to the Song of the Welkin Moon teaser, you guys know that the 3 Moon Sisters consisted of the Eternal Moon, the Iridescent Moon, and the Frost Moon. Now, when the Eternal Moon died, it shattered, so get lost. The iridescent moon died after the eternal one, and from the shadow of the iridescent moon, the crimson moon of Canria was born. So, just like how the realm of the dead, the city of Styxia in Amphorius, is overseen by the crimson moon and the frost moon, Teyvat also has a crimson moon and a frost moon. But here's the real big detail. Castoris, in order to kill Thanatos, the titan of death, the god of death on Amphorius, she used a philosopher's stone, a crimson one, a red one, that was given to her by her master Anaxagoras. Anaxagoras is an alchemist in Amphorius. He used alchemy to create the magnum opus from his heart. He took his heart and then he transmuted his heart into a philosopher's stone. And Castoris uses that red philosopher's stone to resurrect the dragon Pollux, which is her sister Polyxia, and then kill the dragon to take her authority and return death to the world. During that ritual of resurrection, when Castoris uses Anaxagoras' philosopher's stone, she says, rises from the earth, falls from the sky, and then we get a white egg, which, by the way, very similar to the three moons as they are depicted over here. We get a white egg that rises from the earth, and from that white egg, a dragon hatches. That is the dead body of Pollux, of Polyxia. We fight it with Castoris and the Trailblazer. We defeat Pollux, and Castoris regains authority over death. So the language used by Castoris during that alchemical ritual is extremely similar to the language we are shown over here, and that is all very, very important because, of course, that was in the city of Styxia, which is overseen by two moons, one crimson, one frost moon, similar to the iridescent moon, which became the crimson moon in Genshin, and then we have the frost moon in Genshin, and then from the egg that looks like the moon, a dragon hatches, or at least the dead body of a dragon hatches. It dies immediately upon the moment of its birth, which is extremely ironic for the god of death, of course, and very fitting also. But yeah, overall, I think you guys can see how it is very, very thematically consistent with Genshin. We have alchemy, we have dragons, we have frost moon and crimson moon, we have a god of death, a realm of death, and of course we have eggs. And whenever I talk about eggs in relation to angels and dragons, because angels worshipped the three moon sisters at least at some point, I always have to mention briefly the angel's egg from Mamoru Oshii, which by the way is not only directly referenced in the trailer of Castoris, but it also is a major source of inspiration for the overall story of Genshin Impact and the Canria chapter. So yeah, super cool symbolism. We start with Durin, who is a dragon created from alchemy. We transition into the teacup and we get to see the image of a dragon over here. This dragon not only symbolizes Durin, it also symbolizes Nibelung, and the reason we know it symbolizes Nibelung is because Nicole immediately tells us about the three moon sisters. Look, we have the three moon sisters over here, and then from the three moon sisters we transition into how Nibelung made them rise from the earth, similar to what we see with Castoris in the world of Amphorius. Amazing symbolism. Amazing. Let's continue. So we have blue fire. Blue fire is symbolic in Genshin of life. Now, this could be soul fire, or it could be something else that we are going to learn about in the future. As for what I want to point out, well, in Peruer's animated short, the video starts by a spark of blue fire from which flowers emerge. Of course, flowers, they represent Nabirius, they represent the ruler of life, they represent the idea of life, which is why I liken blue fire to soul fire, the fire of life, the spark of life. So in Peruer's teaser or animated short, we see a blue flame from which flowers emerge, and then from those flowers, a bunch of plushies that symbolize Peruer and all of the other children from the House of the Hearth are born from those flowers, and yeah, then they kill each other and all of that stuff. We already know the story of Peruer. We also see blue fire directly associated with Reindotter in the teaser for the Four Shades. And this is important because Reindotter is the current ruler of life after she devoured Nabirius. So yeah, blue fire is heavily associated with life. So this should be the Lightkeeper. His name is Kirill Shudomirovich Flynn. Now, Kirill is taken from Cyril. It is a Greek name. It means Lord. Shudomirovich and Flynn are both Slavic. They are not related to any specific Slavic country. They you will find them in Russia, Ukraine, Bulgaria, all of those countries. And the name Flynn, exact same thing. It just means a strong stone.
It's not until the
Or something along those lines.
funerary year that the primordial voice once again cried out in the darkness.
So the funerary, this is a very, very cool detail. Listen to what she says.
It was not until the funerary year that the primordial voice once again cried out in the darkness.
So, you know, when she says the primordial creator or the primordial ruler of the world, she is referring to Nibelung, who created the three moons. That primordial voice once again cried out in the darkness during when? During the funerary year. Now, the funerary year is something taken from a book called Before Sun and Moon. That was the year where the primordial ones unified Greek civilization that was supposed to last forever was destroyed by the second who came. And the second who came is most likely the Voyager. The very high chance she is the second who came. That's the second descender. She is an alien Voyager who imposed her consciousness and possessed the body of a star-eyed youth who should parallel or is himself Ajax the hero. Of course, Ajax the Fool, the Fatui, is named after the legendary Ajax the hero. This Voyager then allied with the first angel, and the first angel taught humanity the art of creating life, and so came the very most primitive form of alchemy. Later, alchemy kept evolving through human hands until in Kandria the art of chemia was developed. Now, this was all taking place in the ancient era of the Hyperborea, and specifically in the Golden City of the Hyperborea.
That the primordial voice once again.
So the Voyager, who may or may not be the second who came, good chance she is, slight chance she might not be, but regardless, she colluded with the first angel, and they rebelled against the primordial one. That would be the usurper king, not Nibelung. During that era, that was the Great War of Vengeance, the funerary year, where Nibelung returned from the abyss. So Nicole says that primordial voice once again cried out in the darkness. So Nibelung returned from the abyss and rallied all of the ancient dragons to fight on his side against the primordial one, who threw him out of Tevat and took his world. When I say threw him out of Tevat, I mean the light realm, because Nibelung ruled over the light realm, but then the primordial one created Tevat out of the light realm. Or at least that's what Before Sun and Moon says.
Cried out in the darkness.
My lady.
The Frostmoon Scions again. A laugh.
This is the doll that should be the marionette. So her name is Sandrone. We do not know if Sandrone is actually the robot doll herself. We will see.
Probably futile rebellion.
Because the idea is that Sandrone might be the actual robot, he is the marionette, and he might be controlling the little puppet and using her to talk. That would be a really cool design.
A laughably futile rebellion.
However, probably given the fact that she will be the one playable, if Sandrone ever becomes playable, the little girl model will be the playable one. It might be that the robot is just her assistant and she is the actual character. It would be cool if it's the robot, though. That would be really cool.
Pale white
And then he's like using the puppet in order to talk.
Frostmoon, I, your loyal emissary and scion of Hyperborea, beseech you to cast down your gaze from the celestial dome above. May your gentle tears pierce the frigid night and grant us, the forsaken and forgotten, your guiding light. Oh,
So,
white.
this character is Lauma. We have already seen her in the version 5.8 live stream. Yeah, she says she is a scion of the Hyperborea and a loyal emissary of the moon. Now, this could mean two things. Either she is a Seelie, so an angel, that is the less likely possibility, or she is one of the Snowland Fae. Not the Fae who follow the Beli Tsar, the original cryo-archon before the Tsaritsa. No, the Fae, the ancient Fae, who were created in the golden city of the Hyperborea. These were the very first Fae created by humanity, so the very first form of alchemy that was passed down through the secrets of creation given to humanity by the first angel who allied herself with the Voyager. This Fae over here, if she is one of them, should be one such creation of the first humans who used alchemy. Now, she might be also one of the Tsar's Fae, and she is using like the Hyperborea stuff ritually. But yeah, we'll see.
And grant us the forsaken and forgotten.
Given the way she is talking to the Frost Moon, I do think Lauma should be one of those Fae. However, do keep in mind that the Fae of the Golden City, as stated in the artifact set galleries of the finale of the Deep Galleries, the primordial one should have obliterated most of them, if not all of them, so she might be one of the Beli Tsar's followers. However, I think she might be a survivor of the Hyperborea, given how she says that she is a scion of the Hyperborea, so she might be one of those very, very first ones. That would make her absolutely ancient, by the way. She is on par in age with Zhongli, if she is one of those fey creatures.
Night, and grant us the forsaken and forgotten, your guiding light.
You didn't come here for the story.
This character is really cool, by the way. I wonder if she is supposed to be... Her name is Nefer. I wonder if, given how she says, she tells Arca you didn't come here for the story. Look.
Did you?
Huh. Finished already, huh?
No. It's just a greater storyteller than myself has come.
Okay, so look what she says. Nefer, she tells Varka, she was the one whom Aino said would tell Varka a story. And she tells Varka some kind of story. Varka tells her, you are done. She tells him, no, there is a greater storyteller than myself who has arrived in Nodekrai. And the vibes that I get from this character is that she might possibly be one of the Jinn of Amun, the Jinn who are created by Nabu Malikata and later subjugated by Amun as his followers. If she is, that would be absolutely amazing. That is so hype. Now, she could also alternatively just be a normal Sumerian. Well, I say normal in quotation marks. She might be a Sumerian, well, I don't want to say scholar, but someone who is expert in the history of Tivat. And because she perhaps maybe studied the work of Deshret's civilization, she might have a bunch of knowledge on that stuff. But it would be really cool if she is actually a Jinn. Specifically, one of the Jinn who used to worship Amun, the Lord of the Red Sand.
It's just...
I think everyone should be familiar with who Amun is. He used to be one of the three god kings in ancient Sumeru. He should have been the Dendro Archon, but then he refused, like Andreas, and Ruka Devata took on that responsibility. And the other god was a Seelie. She was an angel, Nabu Malikata. She is the one who created the Jinn. Lilupar is one of those Jinn, and maybe Nefer is also one such a Jinn. That would be really cool. However, she could also just be a normal Sumerian who is like familiar with history.
A greater storyteller than myself has come.
So this is the lighthouse we saw earlier in the very, very first reveal of Nodekrai. And around it we can of course see the architecture of the Primordial One's Greek civilization.
Now.
Because, of course, the Golden City, and not only the Golden City, but also the Hyperborea itself, was part of the Greek civilization, just like the land of Byakuyakoku, which later fell beneath the ocean and became Enkanomia.
Beyond the moonlight's reach, an ancient shadow brandished.
Who the hell is this? Is this Nicole? Maybe? Perhaps this is Nicole. And by the way, Nicole should be an angel. So if this is Nicole...
Beyond the moonlight's...
Actually, you know what? The Nefer girl, she says that a storyteller much better than herself shows up. And then they immediately... Of course, she is talking about Nicole. Has been narrating this entire video, and then we transition into Nicole. We transition into this girl, and because of that, I think that this girl should be Nicole.
Reach. An ancient shadow brandishes its hunting claws.
Does she actually? Well, she kind of has horns. I'm not really sure if these qualify as horns, like 50-50. She does have the wings that angels usually have.
Reach. An ancient shadow.
The thing is, I don't know if this is Nicole's voice being overlaid over this random girl, over this girl who is not Nicole, or this would be really cool, if this is Nicole herself, and because Nicole cannot talk, because she gave up her ability to speak, if you can hear this in the story that Wolfie over in Imaginarium Theater tells you, because Nicole gave up her ability to speak, this is her, and she is talking to us without opening her mouth. That would be cool.
Brandishes its hunting claws, taking aim at the star.
You know what? Given the way she looks, this is probably Nicole. She is the angel.
You're right. I came here for the moon.
So yeah, he has the wolf's gravestone. And of course, the Wolf Knight came here for the moon. Now, it is annotated as Mondstadt. I don't know if this is supposed to be like a mistranslation or if they did it on purpose, because if you guys know, in Honkai Star Rail, when they first revealed the Lord Ravagers, the subtitles over there, they had a bunch of mistranslations. But I am going to take it at face value. Varka says, I came for the moon. He mentions it is the moon over here is annotated as Mondstadt. This is because Mondstadt is called the Moon City. So Mondstadt is related to the moon. Varka, the Wolf Knight. Wolves, as I mentioned earlier in the video, they worship the moon, they follow the moon. They were friends of the Seelies, who also worship the moon. So Varka, a wolf, he came for the moon, and he is from the city of the moon, Mondstadt. Oh yeah, he has the full-fledged wolf's gravestone. Really, really cool. Oh, and by the way, I mentioned this before. This guy is literally Aventurine, but like daddy version. He is Aventurine, but buff. I hope he is tall as Capitano. Oh, and he wields a claymore with one hand like I hoped for. Now, he swings the claymore with one hand. This is what I hope for. Really, really cool character. This is definitely the character that I will be waiting for in Nodokai.
Came here for the moon.
Yeah, my guy is literally just Aventurine, but like buff version. So Varka is Animo, and the girl Lauma over here is Dendro.
I'm afraid you have the wrong person.
This is the Lightkeeper we saw earlier. His name is Kirill. I already talked about him. A very, very good design. I like every single design I have seen so far in Norai. They are all really, really good, which is a really nice sign.
Now, be gone.
This guy is awesome. The Kirill guy, Lightkeeper.
veil of lies is slipping.
So, Colombina says a bunch of things that are worth mentioning. Let us listen carefully to the things she is about to utter.
In the water.
In the water, the future mirrors the past. This is directly referencing a line from not only Perenheri, I believe it is also from the Arcano Peruer, her weapon, the Crimson Moon's semblance. There is a line in that weapon which states that the astrologists of ancient Kandria during the era of the Crimson Moon saw in the inverted image of the sky the truth of Tevat's fate. So they saw the future in the mirrored image of the past, right? So Colombina recounts this whole idea. Oh, and not only that weapon, also Barbeleth Trus Magistus, when you go to fight the new weekly boss, the chess one, just literally go to the cutscene over there, like go fight the boss, play the cutscene, and you will notice that Barbeleth also says a very similar thing where she states that only by inverting the world can you see the way it truly looks like. And Colombina echoes both of those lines when she says, in the water, the future mirrors the past. Oh, and we also have a third thing to reference. When we go to Simulanka, Mona, who is of course the disciple of Barbeleth Trismegistus, Mona explains to the traveler that Barbeleth created the fate of Simulanka by inverting Tevat through like a mirror of water and based the fate of Simulanka on Tevat. So yeah, I think you guys get the point.
Future mirrors the past. The veil of lies is slipping.
The veil of lies here should be... It might be the veil of sin, which I suppose introduces a new variable that I now have to explain, because the veil of sin was like the idea of breaking into the abyss, which Ermin, the last king of Kandria, the last Vinster king, he wanted to break through the veil of sin. Piero, the founder of the Fatui Harbingers, whom Colombina is number 3 amongst them, he warned Ermin and told him not to do that. Ermin, of course, did not listen to Piero. He broke the veil of sin and caused Kandria's cataclysm and destruction. So the veil of lies might be the veil of sin. Colombina, of course, does not call it the veil of sin because she probably knows something that we do not know. Instead of calling it the veil of sin, she says the veil of lies. So she's like ironically mentioning the veil of sin. So take a look at this crow, the black crow. This is the reflected image of the white crow in the animated teaser of the Four Shades. And the white crow and the black crow, they both symbolize Piero. The black one is the reflection of the white crow on the water, so it is inverted. And because of the white crow's shadow, the black crow appears dark. The black crow is Piero in the past when he was in Kandria. The white crow is Piero from the Commedia dell'arte, the white jester, the current Piero because he wears white. So this could also be referenced like the idea of in the water, the future mirrors the past. So the future Piero mirrors the past Piero, something along those lines. It could also be referencing Piero.
The past. The veil of lies is slipping. Time is short. The moon's fall is nigh.
Oh, and by the way, Colombina is called the Moon Maiden by Hoyoverse. Like, she is literally called the Moon Maiden. There are other characters who are called Moon Maiden, such as Nabu Malikata Bilqis, who was the lover of Amun. I already talked about Amun. Colombina is either a moon maiden as in an angel like Bilqis, like Nabu Malikata, or she is related like an incarnation, some form of incarnation of the frost moon, or maybe perhaps the iridescent or eternal moon. Probably an angel though, or maybe an incarnation. We'll see. However, the way these blue flowers turn crimson Ah, brother, the way these blue flowers turn crimson might be symbolic of Colombina being the incarnation of the iridescent moon. When the iridescent moon died, its shadow became Canria's crimson moon. That's the one which Peruer's ancestors used to worship. All of these flowers turning red, they might be symbolizing Colombina being related to the crimson moon, which, like, that would make her related to the iridescent moon, not like the crimson one, because remember, the crimson one is the shadow of the iridescent moon, which is now dead. Or I should say destroyed. Actually, you know what, here's what I'm gonna do. Let's take a look at the way the moons are depicted, and let's see if one of them resembles Colombina.
Between life and death. Willpower.
So, I cannot see anything. They are barely visible. And maybe one of them resembles Colombina, who knows? For now, let's just assume she is an angel, because assuming that Colombina is the incarnation or reincarnation or some form of incarnation of the moon is a bit of a stretch. To be fair though, Colombina might also be the new moon, which has been teased that it will rise in Nodekrai.
The veil of lies is slipping. The moon's fall is nigh.
So they redesigned Alice. She is no longer Big Klee, she is now just Alice.
Here at last. And things look even messier than last time.
I say redesigned, but realistically speaking, this was her original design and the other one was just a teaser.
Well, Miss Alice, shall we begin?
I think the Big Klee one is going to be a skin.
There's no rush, and I'd like to catch up with an...
So she looks really cool, a bit of a flower symbolism on her eyes. Yeah, Alice looks amazing. I don't really have that much to say, and she looks cool. She might be a fae, might be an elf, we'll see what kind of creature she is. It would be interesting, though, if she is one of the Belyitsar's fae. So we have two types, well, supposedly, we don't know. We have supposedly two types of fae. There is the original fae who were created by the Hyperborea's Golden City after the Voyager convinced the first angel to join her, and then the first angel passed down the secrets of creation to humanity, and then humanity used the Primordial One's secrets of creation to forge living beings in the form of the fae, and to do that they spun the Frost Moon's light into like living and breathing creatures. Those were, of course, the original fae. Those fae should have been completely obliterated by the Primordial One. However, some of them either survived or some of them were recreated by the original Cryo Archon, the one before the Tsaritsa, that would be the Belyitsar, and they were his followers. Alice might be one of those fays. However, given the fact that her ears do not resemble them, she might be a completely different species of elves. We will see.
An old friend first.
Honestly, at this point, Alice might even be an outlander from Tevat like Skirk.
And you, young man?
Let's part ways here. I have an old score of my own to settle.
So this is amazing for a number of reasons. Albedo, of course, created or transmutated Durin from a dragon into a humanoid humanus using alchemy. Albedo is the student of Rhine-Daughter, who is currently the Shade of Life after devouring Nabirius. Alice is, of course, the mother of Klee, who is a very, very good friend of Albedo. And Albedo and Wanderer are both directly related to Durin. So if Durin is in Nodekrai, Albedo and Wanderer, or Scaramouche, being in Nodekrai makes perfect sense. Furthermore, this is something that I have been wondering for a very, very long time. why on earth is Scaramouche not hunting Il Dottore? Because we know Il Dottore is in Not a Cry. Well, finally, Hoyoverse have answered my question, and Scaramouche is now indeed hunting Dottore. This is why he is in Not a Cry. Look what he says.
Let's part ways here. I have an old score of my own to settle.
So the 6th Fatui Harbinger Scaramouche has an old score to settle. What is the old score? Well, the old score is the fact that Zandiq, 200 years ago, he killed Scaramouche's friend in the form of Hisahide Niwa. That is Kazuha's ancestor. He was the first person to view Scaramouche as a human. Well, he wasn't, of course, Scaramouche is not a human, but Hisahide Niwa treated him as a human after his mother Beelzebul cast him away when she saw that he was not fit to hold the Gnosis. So Niwa was later killed in Tataratsuna by our guy Zandiq, Il Dottore, the 2nd Fatui Harbinger, and Scaramouche is over here to take revenge on Dottore. This is something that I have been wondering for a very long time. Good thing Hoyoverse did not forget about this plotline, because it would have been... Bro, if Scaramouche just forgot about Dottore, it would have been fucking goofy. That would be so stupid. So yeah, he's in Nodecry. He's gonna do exactly what he should do, which is go after Il Dottore.
An old score of my own to settle.
So Dottore is of course going to find a way to squeeze out of Scaramouche's hands and fulfill his goal, which is the blasphemous act of burning Irminsul and revealing the truth of the world to everyone.
I have an old score of my own to settle.
Amazing trailer, and it looks like Alice is not going to be playable anytime soon. We can see the playable characters. We have Kirill, we have the Krumkaki girls, we have Nefer, Aino, she's also one of the Krumkaki girls, mechanics. Inefa is going to be playable next patch in a few days. Durin, Lauma, Varka, and Nicole. And yeah, there's also Sandrone and Colombina. So yeah, Alice is not going to be playable anytime soon, but she's probably going to be important to the story. However, do not lose hope. Alice might be playable in the second half or towards the end of Nodecry, so right before Snezhnaya proper. Do keep in mind, never forget this, Nodecry is technically Snezhnaya. It is an autonomously governed region of that land. But before Snezhnaya proper, we might get Alice. However, in the first half, yeah, it looks like the first half is like just the characters I just mentioned, which are the ones showcased over here. Let me know what you guys think. This is an absolutely amazing animated teaser, and I am really looking forward for Nodecry. I have not been this excited for Genshin since Inazuma. Amazing area, the soundtrack is super cool, the designs are literally, every single one of them is peak, really good, and the future of Genshin looks promising. So, as always, huge thanks to everyone who supports this channel on Patreon. Thank you for watching till the end. For now, I've been My Name for Now, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.